Hello friends, this is the fifth and last video of our chapter breathing and exchange of the gases. So without wasting time, let's see what's there in today's lecture. Okay, so today we are going to see factors affecting the binding of oxygen to hemoglobin, right? Just a minute. Factors affecting see, this is binding of O2 to hemoglobin. As I told you, when oxygen reacts with the hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin is formed. So, what are the factors that affect the binding of O2 to Hb? First one is partial pressure of O2. Okay, and then there are three things you have to remember: partial pressure of CO2 also. Then hydrogen ion concentration and the temperature. These are the four factors. You just remember PO2, PeCO2, hydrogen ion concentration, and the temperature. Okay, and which are the favorable factors to form oxyhemoglobin? See, PO2 must be higher, very easy to understand, higher PO2, and other factors should be in low quantity like low PCO2, lesser S plus concentration, and lower temperature. So this is very easy to understand. Higher PO2, lower CO2, lower H plus ion concentration, and then lower temperature. These are the factors affecting the binding of O2 to hemoglobin. Okay. Then what are the factors which affect the transport of CO2? Transport of the CO2. Only two factors, PCO2 and PO2. There are two factors which affects the transport of CO2. See, when PCO2 is higher, where the PCO2 is higher, definitely in the tissue. See, this is your alveoli, this is the oxygenated blood, this is your tissue, and then this is the deoxygenated blood. Okay, when where the PCO2 is will be higher, it will be higher in the tissue, right? When PCO2 is higher, the PO2 and PO2 is lower, more binding of CO2 occurs. Simple. If PCO2 is higher, more binding of CO2 occurs. And when PCO2 is lower and PO2 is higher, see, this is deoxygenated blood which is going to alveoli, where PO2 is higher. PO2 is greater than PCO2, right? When PCO2 is lower and PO2 is higher, more dissociation of the CO2 from carbaminohemoglobin occurs. For example, in alveolus, see, carbaminohemoglobin is what? When the carbon dioxide reacts with the hemoglobin, it forms carbaminohemoglobin. When oxygen reacts with the hemoglobin, it forms oxyhemoglobin. Okay. So simple, at the tissue level, more binding of CO2 occurs, and at the alveolus, more dissociation of the CO2 occurs. Okay, and then our next topic is carbonic anhydrase. It is the enzyme. Okay, and where it is present? It is present in the RBC. Okay, RBC contain very high concentration of the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. Okay, and minor quantity is present in the plasma. So plasma is what? It is the fluid part of the blood, colorless fluid part of the blood. Okay, and what carbonic anhydrase does? When CO2 and water is mixed, then H2CO2 is formed. H2CO3. You just remember this reaction. This is the reversible reaction. Okay, like this. This is the reversible reaction. And CO2 plus H2O, H2CO3 is formed, and H2CO3 is H2CO3 is converted to SCO3 and H plus ions. Okay, this is the reaction, and carbonic anhydrase is present in the RBC. Okay, this is useful in the transport of the CO2. Right? These are the reversible reaction, and we have already seen every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood delivers approximately 4 ml of the CO2. Okay. Then there is next topic is oxygen dissociation curve. What to remember just is PO2 and saturation of hemoglobin. Saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. Okay, with oxygen. When the graph is plotted of partial pressure of oxygen, that PO2, and saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. See, hemoglobin reacts with the carries 4 molecules of the oxygen. Okay, when the partial pressure of the oxygen increases, then percentage saturation of the hemoglobin also increases at very high rate initially, and then there is slower rate, and this curve is formed. This curve is sigmoid shape. Okay. See, sigmoid curve is obtained when the percentage saturation of the hemoglobin with the O2 is plotted against the PCO2, PO2, partial pressure of the oxygen. See, saturation is higher at the initial level, and then rate goes on decreasing. Okay, and S-shaped curve is formed. See, remember PO2 and saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. These are the two axes. It is useful in so why it is useful? It is useful in studying the effect of factors like other factors, PCO2, H plus ion concentration, which affects the reaction of O2 and hemoglobin, right? On binding of O2 with hemoglobin. Okay. Remember PO2 and saturation of high hemoglobin with O2. Okay, and sigmoid shape curve, which is oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, then how the respiration is regulated? See, there are two centers. The first center is respiratory rhythm center, which is present in the medulla. So, where is medulla? That will be covered in the other chapter. Okay, so I'm not going to into the medulla. Okay, and there is pneumotaxic center, which is present in the pons of the brain. Okay, respiratory rhythm center is present in the medulla, and pneumotaxic center present in the pons of the brain. See, there are some chemosensitive area which are sensitive to CO2 and hydrogen ions. Okay, and they are present in the rhythm center. Okay, chemosensitive area sensitive to carbon dioxide and the H plus ions. Okay, which send signal to the rhythm center. Okay, these are present in the rhythm center only. Okay, and then there are receptors associated with aortic arch and carotid artery. I just give you one assignment. You just Google what is aortic arch and carotid artery. Okay, it will be interesting. And there are some receptors present in the aortic arch and carotid artery, which also recognize changes in CO2 and H plus ion concentration. They send signal to the rhythm center, and accordingly respiration is regulated. The role of this is important. Role of oxygen in the regulation of the respiratory rhythm is quite insignificant. See, there is no role of the oxygen now. Only CO2 and H plus ion concentration. See, CO2 and H plus ion concentration, and they are sensitized where chemosensitive area. Okay, which are present where one is in rhythm center, and also there are some receptors present in the aortic arch and carotid artery, which send signal to the rhythm center. Okay, and accordingly the respiration is regulated. Okay, our next topic is about disorder asthma. You may have heard some person is having asthma, so he is getting difficulty in breathing. So this is the asthma is a difficulty in breathing causing wheezing. Okay, and what is reason? Inflammation of bronchi and bronchioles. Very simple. Some people have allergy and they get inflammation is what? Swelling is inflammation. Inflammation of the bronchi and bronchioles give rise to difficulty in breathing. It is called as asthma. Then there is emphysema. This is quite easy to understand. See, here it is chronic disorder. Okay, there are two types of the disorder. One is acute and one is chronic. Okay, what is acute? Actually, these are related to time period of the disease. Acute is what lesser time period, and chronic is very old. Some diseases are very old. These are called chronic diseases. This emphysema is chronic, and what happens? Alveolar wall is damaged. See, we have seen alveoli is the site of the exchange of the gases, right? So if wall is damaged, then respiratory surface is decreased. So there is less diffusion of the gases. And one of the major causes of the there are many causes. One of the major causes of the emphysema is what? Cigarette smoking. This respiratory surface is damaged. Suppose this is the artery and this is your alveoli. This respiratory surface is damaged. Okay, which results into emphysema. Okay, and then our last topic, occupational respiratory disorder. Occupation is what? particular job or particular say service is called occupation. Okay, related to some occupation, right? Simple. For example, grinding or stone breaking industries. See, dust is formed. Okay, long dust exposure of dust can give rise to simple inflammation. Inflammation is the swelling. Dust goes inside and it gives rise to inflammation. Okay, leading to fibrosis. Fibrosis is what? Proliferation of fibrous tissue. This is your lung. Okay, some fibrous growth is formed because of the inflammation, and which is because of the dust or some kind of particles which are related to occupation, particular occupation. So that's why this is called occupational respiratory disease. Okay, this was our last topic. Okay, and I hope you liked all the videos. This has covered only in 5 videos, and please do like, subscribe and comment. Thank you.